Let's turn our attentions now to the 2030 World Cup. Yes, 2030. The 2022 World Cup is here, Qatar, about 6 weeks away. But the jostle for the 2030 World Cup hosting rights is on. And you now have Ukraine joining Spain and Portugal in their joint bid to host the 2030 World Cup. And this is coming amid concerns, about the ongoing war in Ukraine. But the Ukrainian president, Vladimir Zelensky, gave the green light to Ukraine's bid to join Portugal and Spain in hosting the tournament. And the belief is that by 2030, when the World Cup is, around, the war in Ukraine would have ended and the rebuilding process would have taken off to a great degree. What do you make of Ukraine's, joint bid now with Spain and Portugal?
First, I think it's a very bold move, and it's a very interesting one. Seeing them go for this kind of thing, it will be a little bit tricky.
Okay.
Seeing having the problem they have with Russia presently.
Exactly.
Now, it's not just about the war; it's about what will happen even after the war. After the war, because I'm not sure Russia is the kind of country that will just sit down and keep looking at them, especially if Ukraine gets to win the war. So it's going to be a very serious problem, especially for the security of the people coming for the World Cup for different teams, and the kind of officials, probably top officials that will be coming for this World Cup in Ukraine. Have in mind that there's Russia at the back. So it's a very tricky, it's a bold move, I would say, but it's a little bit tricky. We'll see how it goes down.
Pans out. Okay. Talking about Ukraine's bid with Portugal and Spain, Europe definitely, UEFA is trying as much as possible to ensure that the 2030 World Cup, stays in Europe. Remember that of 2022, which is about 6 weeks away, will be taking place in the Middle East for the first time, which is Qatar. And you have 2026 in the Americas, talking about the joint bid of Mexico, United States of America, as well as Canada. So it's all about 2030, but it's not only Ukraine, Spain, and Portugal. That's the European bid that is on the table. You also have the South American bid, and it's unprecedented. You have 4 nations, bidding for that. South Africa, did I say South Africa? You have Uruguay. You also have Argentina. You have Paraguay and Chile for South America. All 4 nations bidding to host the 2030 World Cup. Do not forget another unprecedented bid that has to do with 3 different continents. You have Saudi Arabia in the Middle East, you have Greece, in Europe, and you have Egypt from Africa. That's another bid for the 2030 World Cup. It will be intriguing to see who gets the hosting rights for the FIFA World Cup taking place in 2030. Now, yesterday night we had fixtures, especially mouth-watering ones, but the biggest one in terms of scoreline had to be Ajax against Napoli, and we expected it to be competitive. We expected goals to be there, but we weren't expecting such a flattering scoreline. 6-1 it ended as Napoli ran riot right there in Amsterdam. And for Napoli, it's probably a statement not on the continental stage in terms of UEFA Champions League title, but in terms of the domestic scene where they are topping the Italian Serie A table. 6-1 this ended, Raspadori with a brace. What do you make of the performance last night from Napoli?
I'd say Napoli this season has been very spectacular. Their play has really improved.
Yes.
And you see even without Osimhen scoring 6 goals.
6 goals.
So it shows that the coach has really improved all round on the players, and almost each and every one of them can score a goal when they are at that spot. So yesterday's game I really didn't see Ajax played. I would say they played both. They started well because they were they were the first to score.
Score, exactly.
So I was wondering what really happened with them. They were very sloppy. Their defense was very, very sloppy before they even Napoli has won 6-1 before they even get a red card. So it just showed on the whole team, and they were frustrated. Probably they have some internal issues, or I don't know. They really played poorly yesterday. They really played poorly.
Okay, well, from one team that played so well to another that had to ride its luck, especially when it comes to the VAR. We're talking about Inter Milan, another Italian side who were in action last night. Inter Milan against Barcelona, that ended 1-0 in favor of the Italians, and it was Çalhanoğlu's stunning strike, outside the box that gave Inter Milan that, win over Barcelona. But there were controversies regarding the use of the VAR. There was the Pedri equalizer that was cancelled or ruled out as a result of a handball by Ansu Fati. You also had Barcelona staking claims for penalty in the dying seconds of the game, but that was also ignored by the referee. The Barcelona-Inter Milan match was quite eventful. Again, it brings to the limelight the use of VAR by different referees and how to interpret the laws of the game, especially when it comes to handballs. What do you make of what we saw last night?
Generally, it's the first thing you have to note is the referee in the game has the final decision.
Exactly.
It depends on what he sees and what he thinks it is, even if he goes to what the VAR and VAR calls him. Okay. So I think yesterday there was I was talking to somebody, and there was this new FIFA rule that FIFA has changed, that even if the ball meets a person accidentally for the opponent scoring the goal, that it still counts as a goal. But during the match, one of the major things they were saying was his hand was not actually in a right place. It should be. It shouldn't be at that place.
Natural position.
It was not in the natural position.
But there were those who also argued that the goalkeeper was the one who came out to punch the ball, so he pushed it to his hands.
So like I said, it's a back and forth thing, and the ref in the match has the final decision for those things, and that's what we saw yesterday. And these kind of things will always come out once in a while in games, and sometimes it's always, it depends on who is against. If I'm sure if it was Barca that was having that, they will have taken it. So that's how it is generally for football. It depends on who those kind of fouls are against. But I think Barca were not clinical enough yesterday.
Yes.
They were not clinical. They had chances to actually score. They were not really clinical enough. So I think that's one major thing they should have focused on their game. And I think Inter really prepared well for Barca. They played well, and they have put Barca in a very tight position in their group now. So.
Well, talking about natural position and the controversy that always stems from handballs and what have you, sometimes it's difficult, especially when players tend to jump to challenge for aerial duels and all. How natural can the hand be when you jump? You want to get so much elevation. You can't just be like this and jump, But it is what it is. The controversy sometimes makes the game more exciting. Well, let's turn our attention now, to another team who were in action yesterday, and that's Liverpool. Liverpool cruised to a 2-0 win over Rangers at Anfield. It could have been more. McGregor, at 40 years old, that's the goalkeeper of Rangers, pulled stunning saves, especially denying Darwin Núñez from getting a goal in the Champions League for Liverpool. But for all of these, Liverpool were still able to get the job done. Trent Alexander-Arnold scoring that stunning free kick, and Salah scoring from the spot. Good one from them, considering the disappointment of drawing against Brighton.
Yes, it's a very good one for them. I think against Brighton is not really a disappointment, because Brighton has been a very, very good team this season. They're playing against big teams. I see Brighton trying to take a point. I think every big team will probably be very, very, I would say, prepare more well when playing against Brighton.
Okay.
So I think Liverpool have had some bad forms, some injuries, and this season, and I think they are currently building their momentum. And I think when they start this unbeaten streak, we have seen how Liverpool have played and how they have played in this very competitive game, I think. So yesterday they really played well. And of course, we all know that kind of game was a straight win for Liverpool, and they really showed why they are very competitive in these kind of games.
Okay, wrapping up our review of yesterday's matches, has to be Club Brugge against Atletico Madrid. Yes, not a big club on paper, but that's a club that is out there on a mission. It's historic for them because they defeated Atletico Madrid by 2-0 to register their third win in as many matches. And the beauty about it is they are yet to concede a goal in the UEFA Champions League this season. In a group that has Porto, Bayer Leverkusen, as well as Atletico Madrid, they've beaten all three opponents, yet to concede a goal. And that's the first time a Belgian side is achieving such a feat. Remarkable, it must be said. What was more shocking? The result, or the fact that they were able to achieve, a clean slate in the first round, of the group stage matches.
Like it's something that I'm sure it's something that probably never happened to them. Club Brugge generally used to be a team that probably just add them to the last. They're always going to probably go to Europa or just obviously going out of the group. So it's always like that for them. So I think this season they have been very remarkable in the Champions League. I think they beat Porto 4-0 or something.
Exactly.
So I was shocked, and seeing them beat Atletico Madrid again, I think it's a dream come true for them, and I think they are they have really improved so much.
Okay. Well, it's Chelsea against AC Milan, talking about our preview of today's UEFA Champions League matches, and it's Rafael Leao who was targeted by Chelsea, making a visit to Stamford Bridge to line up for AC Milan against Chelsea. You've seen Leao. We've seen AC Milan this season, not doing badly, just 3 points behind, league leaders Napoli. What do you make of the match? Chelsea are struggling, kind of. Yes, they got the win against Crystal Palace over the weekend, but it was a bit of struggle as well. So against Milan, what are you expecting?
Well, I'll say I'm expecting goals.
Okay.
I'll say on both sides.
Okay.
Because Chelsea is struggling with their defense currently, and I think that's one of the things the coach is trying to build on.
Yes.
So I think that's one thing, but also it's a big match. These matches are not really based on form.
Okay.
You have seen a lot of surprises when you see this big team losing or probably struggling at moments, gets to probably draw this other big team, and so those kind of things have constantly happen in Champions League.
Okay.
So I think this match will be very competitive for them. Though I'm thinking a draw will probably
be the result.
Be the result of the game.
And we'll have to wrap up the show with Real Madrid against Shakhtar Donetsk. The other matches, but hey, City against Copenhagen is not is inconsequential when you consider the results. But it's Real Madrid against Shakhtar Donetsk at home. Benzema came back over the weekend, blazed the penalty over the bar. You think it's going to be another routine win for Real Madrid?
Of course, it's a routine win for Madrid.
A routine win. Okay. There you have it, talking about Real Madrid against Shakhtar Donetsk at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium. That should be a routine win